Hi, this is Eric from Longbox Review at longboxreview.wordpress.com.
And this is Travis from Odd Fellows Thoughts. You can find me on YouTube.
And we are back, Travis and I, to do. You know what, Travis? I'm already screwing it up, but it's already been a year about since the last time we did a best of show, and it seems like just a month or two ago that we did this, and here we are a year later.
Yep.
It's freaking amazing how how much time has passed so quickly.
Yes.
To me this year. But we are here to talk about our best of 2012, and we have a bunch of categories. Some that we had from last year, some that we threw together that are slightly different or just altogether new. But we got some answers, at least some answers to some of these.
Yep.
And I also put the call out to you, the listener, for you to send me your answers to these categories. And I do have one person's votes for these categories, and it happens to be one of our friends, Travis Lee.
Cool.
So I'll be sharing those. However, people can still send me their answers if they'd like, and I'll read them out on future episodes. I'd be glad to do that. So I love the feedback that way.
Yeah, I'll be glad to tell you you're wrong unless you picked my answers.
All right. But before we get to that stuff, Travis, how was your holidays? How was Christmas?
Crazy busy as always, but it was pretty good.
Good.
It was pretty good.
What did you get? Any nice comic book swag?
I got some that I of course purchased for myself because that's the best way to get the best swag, right?
That's right.
At least it is for me. What I picked up right after the holidays, I picked up the Graphic Canon 1 and 2, volumes 1 and 2. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
I'm not.
It is basically it's the world's greatest literature as comics and visual arts.
Oh.
And so like volume 1 has got really, really old literature in it. Like it's got the epic tale of Gilgamesh and a bunch of Shakespeare and Dangerous Liaison and stuff like that in it. And it's, some of the work is done by, Robert Crumb before he passed away, and, Molly Crabapple and a bunch of other somewhat alternative type artists that in sequential arts do bits and pieces of the stories. Obviously, the book would just be tremendous, obviously, if you actually did the entire tale of, Gilgamesh alone. But basically, it breaks it down almost in a school type fashion of talking about these things. It'd be like an introduction to all these different great stories, and instead of it being just a snippet written down, it's a snippet done in sequential art instead.
Mm-hmm.
And the books are massive. They're huge 1,000-page volumes. The second volume gets up through like into 20th century authors and stories. It's got some Pride and Prejudice and those sorts of things. And the third volume, I believe, comes out this April, and it gets clear up into the modern works like Infinite Jest and
Whoa, Infinite Jest?
Yes, they're actually going to do a piece of sequential art for Infinite Jest.
Oh my God, who puts this out?
It is. Who is the publisher? I'm looking at one right now, and I don't see right off the top of my head. It's edited by Russ Kick. I don't know who the publisher is right offhand. It is Seven Stories Press is who the publisher is.
All right.
But it's pretty cool. I happened to run across it. I don't remember where I was at. I was someplace that has a little smattering of graphic novels, and I saw one of these set in there and was like, ooh, I need to get that. So then I went and ordered it off Amazon, but because they had a pretty good deal on it. But
I'm gonna have to check that out.
For about half price. But it's pretty cool. I haven't really gotten really into reading it and whatnot, but some of the art in it and the way the stories are told is pretty outstanding. There's some pretty cool stuff in it and whatnot. But like I said, it just takes bits and pieces of, like this is the first one. It's got a big chunk of Beowulf in here, and stuff from the Iliad, and just the first, the old epic pieces. Even got a chunk of the Bible. I know the second one's got like big pieces of Through the Looking Glass and Alice in Wonderland and just different stuff like that.
Huh.
It's pretty cool.
All right. Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Oh, okay. Well, I got some nice things. My wonderful Santa wife.
Yeah.
Let's see, what'd she get me? My Christmas is 4 days before my birthday, so I get a bunch of stuff all at once. Not like on the same day, but around the same week, right? So that's always nice. And usually the way it turns out is that we have Christmas and then my birthday follows, and then usually the next weekend after my birthday we go to Spokane to the comic book shop there, and then I get to spend the gift certificate that she always gets me. But this time she got me 2 gift certificates, one for Christmas and one for my birthday, and let me just say it was a sizable amount when put together. So she got me a couple trades that I've been wanting. She got me the New Teen Titans Volume 2 Omnibus.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so now I've got 1 and 2. And she got me an out-of-print trade of the Sojourn title from several years ago. I really enjoyed that story. So she got me that and paid way too much. So you said before about buying the stuff yourself because that way you get the nice stuff.
Right.
Well, so I have an Amazon wish list and I put a bunch of trades on there, and mostly it's not that I buy them through Amazon necessarily. It's just a way for me to keep track of them,
right.
Of all the ones that I want. And also, for her, she can always buy me that stuff if she wanted to. Sure. She doesn't have to, but
Sure.
she can. And so she did, and she went and bought this new. It was listed as new condition, but it's several years old, so I don't know how new
Sure.
it is. But anyway, she paid a pretty penny for it, and so I got to be careful about that in the future now.
Yeah, which things you put on there.
Yeah, because I would not have paid what she paid for that book. So. And then what else? She got me the Titans Companion Volume 1 from Tomorrow's Press. So it's a bunch of articles about the new Teen Titans and talking to the creators and whatnot. So I appreciate that. That's nice. But then of course, like I said, I got a gift certificates and went to the comic book shop and bought a bunch of trades that I had been wanting, including Emmytown. That sketch diary by Emmy Lennox, I believe her name is.
Uh-huh.
So I get to read that. I bought the trade of the Kingdom. That remember that follow-on series they did after Kingdom Come, which actually I'd never read it. I am how much I love Kingdom Come.
Right.
I've got the original issues. I've got a trade. I've got an absolute. I've got the novelization of the story, and I have the audio drama of the thing, but I never had read
the.
Yeah, it was bizarre. I realized somebody had posted something about the Kingdom one day. I happened to see it online. I'm like, wait a minute, why haven't I read that yet?
Yeah.
So anyway, I got that. I got a Mystery Society trade with Fiona Staples art.
Oh yeah.
So, and I saw in this last previews that there is a Mystery Society special that's solicited.
Really?
Yeah, it's a one-shot thing. No Fiona Staples art though. Somebody else is doing the art, but I got it. I ordered it anyway. I figure I'll read the Mystery Society trade, and I'm sure I'll like it. And I got a bunch of other things too, but it was now I have even more comics to read. Oh, I got a couple Wonder Woman trades that Phil Jimenez worked on.
Ooh.
Yeah. So. I can't wait to read those. So yeah, looking forward to that. Yeah. So apparently
you got a massive backlog of books to read.
I do. Well, I still have books from last Christmas that I got that I have not read.
That is sad.
I know. It is really sad. But it's a nice problem to have.
Yeah.
And then I just want to mention, I also, how much you know how much of a Robin fan I am.
Oh yeah.
So I bought the Showcase Presents collection of Robin the Boy Wonder. So a bunch of his solo tales from the Silver Age.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how cool it'll be, but
Well, yeah, it'll be cool in the sense that it adds to your
yeah,
Robin, collection of stuff.
yeah, yeah.
It'll be sad otherwise, probably,
Yeah.
like a lot of
Yeah.
those stories are, but that makes them fun too, though. So
Yep, that's true. Well, I'll say because I read the volume 1 of the Justice League. So, from the very beginning, from was it Brave and the Bold that they first appeared in? Whatever they first appeared in, I don't remember. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But I read I read that trade where from the first appearance of the Justice League on through I think issue, I don't know, 25-ish or so. I don't remember what it was. Oh my God, that was hard. That was so difficult to read.
yeah,
The storytelling back then, the style, the blatant sexism. That
yep.
was probably the hardest thing for me to get through. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe they did that. And
But
just kind of bland stories too,
yeah,
you know.
well, that's
So,
like some of those Silver Age Doom Patrol that I've been
oh yeah.
collecting here lately. It's like I like the idea of them. I like looking at the pictures. You actually start reading the story, and it's like, ooh, wow.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I don't want to go backwards in comic books. That's for sure. As far as remember the good old days, no, I don't. So
Well, every comic collector's or comic fan's golden age is when they started collecting. For us, that
yeah,
was about
the
the
80s.
80s. So
Yep. Well, you can't deny the 80s are the best comics.
that's right. That's right. It was definitely better than what the 90s brought. So there you go. And on that note, let's move on.
Yes.
Let's do our best of 2012.
Awesome.
So I have a bunch of categories here, and Travis and I are going to talk through those. And I do have one listener's comments on some of these, so I'll read those as well. So let's get right to it, Travis.
Mm.
Let's start off with best reinvention of a title or character. What are your thoughts on that?
Boy, that was a hard one. I didn't really have I don't really feel like I have a decent answer for that. Because the only thing I can think of that's been kind of reinvented that I read is Earth 2.
Mm,
And so I guess that's what I would come up with.
that's a good one.
And because I'm surprisingly how much I'm enjoying that book. I mean, I like the old Justice Society. I liked what they represented. I liked the way they looked. I don't care if they were old school. I even liked the Flash with his silly helmet the way it was, and that all the way, And I wasn't sure I was going to like when they started showing pictures of costumes and stuff for the new Earth 2, whether or not I was going to really be on board with that. But I really enjoyed it, and so for me, that's what I would have to pick as best reinvention is Earth 2 and the characters and how they've changed them, and I think have added to those characters.
Wow, I would have bet money, Travis, that you would have chose Wonder Woman.
But see, Wonder Woman actually got reinvented before that, though. Because that would have been my first. That's my first inclination to say that. But Wonder Woman actually started in 2011, right?
Well, sure, but they had 3 issues under their belt before the new year.
Yeah. Wonder Woman will come up a lot in the rest of this thing. So, that's the only reason I didn't pick Wonder Woman, because I really do think it's probably the best. I mean, if we're going to talk just 52, for instance, in my opinion, it's the standout comic.
Oh, okay.
It's the comic where they they supposedly started all these books over again. It's the book they started over that's just, outstanding, head over heels, in love with that book and its representation. So.
Okay. Well, wow, Travis, you just you're talking about Earth 2, because for some reason I totally spaced that. I wasn't even thinking about that comic, and I should have, because you're right. And so I'm changing my answer to that.
What was your answer?
I put down Grant Morrison's Superman. And yeah, and it is a bit of a cheat, like you say, because some of this stuff, well, the DC stuff started in 2011, but just looking at the past year of Action Comics, um, I have just been loving Grant's interpretation of the Superman mythos and reinterpretation and reinvention of the character and those mythos. So that's been a lot of fun.
Hmm. Okay.
But yeah, Earth. What you said about Earth 2, that really fits this category exactly. So
And just kind of off partial subject on the Earth 2 thing. Have you seen the pictures of the new Doctor Fate?
I saw one picture.
Oh,
Yes.
the cover.
Yeah.
Oh,
Are you excited for that or
I'm
what?
extremely excited for that.
Because I know you like Dr. Fate.
I love that character. I love
Yeah.
that character. So yeah, and he looks cool.
Yeah.
I'd hate to have to draw all that complicated belt and little trimmings around his legs and feet all the time, but it looks pretty cool on the cover.
Yeah. Earth 2 is one of my favorite books of all the DC stuff for the very reasons that you've stated. So. All right. Oh, I wanted to mention I did have some honorable mentions in many of these categories, just so I could, throw out my favorite things altogether instead of just picking one. And so I wanted to mention, did you read the Batman Earth 1 graphic novel?
No, I did not.
Okay. So Alfred, it was an honorable mention for reinvention of a character here because the way that they portrayed Jeff Johns wrote that with oh gosh, what's his name? Frank.
Yeah.
You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's Frank or Frank's. It's yeah. He does all the Shazam backup stories in the Justice League.
Gary Frank.
Gary Frank.
That's
yeah,
it. Yes, I see it on my shelf there. Yeah, I can't stand his art, but but Alfred in there is just it's a lovely departure from the Alfred that we have grown up with or that we keep getting introduced to, depending on whatever cartoon series of the Batman that you watch or whatever, every other decade that they reinvent these characters or reintroduce them. But it was a nice change that I really liked. He has a military background, not that, Alfred now doesn't, but it was more pronounced. He's a little more haggard, a little more weather worn, I'll say. It was just a nice contrast between that Alfred and the Bruce Wayne that they introduced in Batman Earth 1. So that was I liked that. It was pretty good. All right, Lee tells us the best reinvention is the Valiant universe.
Probably, huh?
And I put that down as an honorable mention, but I honestly I could not put that forward as an option really because I never read any of the Valiant stuff when it was first introduced.
Yeah, I didn't either. That because when the Valiant stuff came out was right about the time that I took my break from collecting comics, so I'm not familiar with the Valiant universe before.
Well, other than its reputation, right?
Right. Well, yeah.
Yeah. So, and I've talked about this before. Lee is actually responsible for getting me into the current Valiant universe of titles, and I'm getting all of them that they're putting out because there's some good stuff there. There really is. So yeah, so that's probably a really good choice for that category.
Sure.
Let's go on. Next one, best costume.
I got nothing.
This one was hard for me too.
Because I can't think of any costumes that have really changed this year. I guess there's probably some Marvel ones, but no, I got nothing.
All right. Well, I took. Well, here let's see. Lee did not give us one for that. Okay, so it's all me.
All you.
All right, and this is a bit of a cheat. Okay, so I will mention this. So I apparently it's my show. I can do it.
Yeah.
So I have some honorable mentions, and you're gonna love this. You're gonna love this whole thing. So what I originally thought of as my choice for this was the Earth 2 Robin costume. Remember when we talked about when they announced Earth 2, and I just went gaga over that?
Well, that was a cool looking cover. That one.
Yeah. Uh-huh. So that was originally my choice, okay? But it's not my choice.
Uh-huh.
And then I thought, well, you know what? continuing on with the Robin theme, when Batgirl #0 came out, there was that one panel of Batgirl and Batman and Dick Grayson as Robin, and you have that Robin costume. And I thought that was pretty cool, but that's not my choice.
Uh-huh.
However, I am continuing with the Robin theme.
Oh Lord.
and this is a bit of a cheat, but I don't care. There was a post. There was somebody posted on Twitter a picture of this guy's rendition of Stephanie Brown as Robin. Did you see that, Travis?
Probably.
I think I'm pretty sure I retweeted it, but it's by Thomas Branch, and I don't know if he actually drew it this in 2012, but that's when I saw it, so I'm choosing that one, and it's an awesome picture, and I actually posted it on the blog at longboxreview.wordpress.com, and you can go see that. It's one of my snapshot choices. You can take a look at it. It's just awesome. It's a great design. So anyway, that's what I chose. All right, let's go on. Best mini-series, limited series, whatever you want to call them.
Well, that was hard.
Really, because mine, immediately I knew which one I was going to choose on this.
Really? Okay. For me, it's a toss-up between The Secret History of D.B. Cooper and by Oni Press, or Creep by Dark Horse.
Ah, two titles of which I did not read.
Yeah. Well, I don't think very many people did either one. So I really liked The Secret History of D.B. Cooper just because it was a strange little tale about a curiosity of here in the Northwest. You know, the only airplane hijacker to never be caught. You know, and basically it gives the real reason why he didn't get caught and what he was really up to from the writer's perspective on it. And it was just kind of a fun thing with some what I thought was really cool artwork and just kind of a strange trip because it had a lot to do with psychic warfare and fighting the communist Russia and stuff like that, and it was just kind of cool. And then the Creep was just kind of a fun pulp noir with some interesting characters and characterizations in it.
So you're saying that you're choosing both of those as your favorite?
No, I guess I'm going to go with The Secret History of D.B. Cooper as actually being my favorite, and the Creep's
okay
runner-up.
All right, excellent. Let's see. I chose. So I have an honorable mention here. Shade by James Robinson and various artists. Mm-hmm. Did you read that?
No, I did not.
Oh my God.
It'll be one of those things I pick up and trade. Hopefully.
Oh, yeah. It'll be a nice trade. It should be.
Yeah.
It'll be a good read in trade. I should say. Yeah, that was really good. In fact, I think. Now I was trying to remember if that was immediately what leapt to mind when I was picking this category, or if it was my actual choice. I think it was my actual choice, and I thought, oh wait a minute, yeah, that's what it was. I went, wait a minute, what about Shade? And I had to debate about it. I had a little fight in my mind. But so what I chose was New Dead Dwardians by Dan Abnett and
that's excellent
and Ian J. Colbert. Yeah, that miniseries blew me away last year because I saw the solicitation for it. Zombies,
vampires and zombies,
and vampires. I'm like, oh my God, another comic has vampires and zombies. How many of these can the people support,
though.
Right?
Yeah.
But it was written by, so why did I buy this? One, it was written by Dan Abnett, and two, it was set in the Edwardian age, which I love period piece stuff. Even movies, books, comics, whatever. I'm drawn towards them for some reason. And then I start reading it, and I was just blown away by the story, by the storytelling technique, by the writing, the art, the whole package was just like, wow, this is really cool. And it was a really nice development of the story through I think it was 8 issues altogether.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. So it was just, and there's potential for more if they wanted to do another story.
Yep.
So I really hope they do, because I dug it. It was
Well, he's kind of flirted with the idea. I mean, he's kind of toyed with. He said when it was coming up to an end, like, well, I've got more stories I could tell.
yeah.
So
And I hope he gets to.
yeah, same
Whether
here.
even if it's not at DC, if they do something else, a Kickstarter or Image or whatever, take it. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's have some more of that.
Well, you know what? It doesn't even have to. It does, in my opinion, it doesn't even have to necessarily have the same main character in it.
No, this is a
Yeah.
world that is so rife for possibility in the
Oh
stories that
yeah,
it could tell.
definitely. Yeah, yeah. That was.
Yeah.
You're right. That was an excellent miniseries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Lee chose Best Mini before Watchmen, Ozymandias.
Oh, I
Yeah.
haven't read any of those yet
Yeah, that is a pretty good one. I've enjoyed that one.
because I plan on picking those up in trade too.
hmm hmm I think I was thinking. Well, no, we'll get into that. I'm sure I have this. I have some before Watchmen stuff down here in other categories, but yeah, that the Ozymandias story is pretty good. All right, here we go. The best title per publisher, so we'll have a bunch of these, and I kind of grouped them together the way that previews did. So that's why we have the publishers that we do. And this was just, there's another category down the line here that's the best ongoing, and that's your favorite overall comic. But I wanted to present the possibility for every publisher, what's the best that you chose out of that line.
Uh-huh.
So that's why I did that. So let's go with that. Let's start with DC. What was your best title from DC, Travis?
Hands down, Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman, yeah.
Wonder Woman.
I figured you'd say that.
This last year of Wonder Woman has just been outstanding. Get to issue 12, and I was literally, as I'm reading it, going, yeah. So, I'm not that animated of a comic book reader, but that issue just had me absolutely pumped.
So what happened in issue 12 that had
Issue
you?
12 is where Wonder Woman drops her bracelets
Oh, right.
and kicks the crap out of a few other gods.
Yeah.
And doesn't just kick the crap out of them. I love the way she does it. Instead of it being some, big, bold, flashy fight with, super cool karate kicks and crap like that. Hell no. She puts him in a headlock and punches him in the face like some big bully beat down. I absolutely loved it. And then the very end of the book, if you're a New Gods fan, Jack Kirby fan at all, the last page with the boom of the boom tube going off. Oh man, it was just set up for what was coming next.
Yeah,
So,
that's right. I remember that now. When I read that, I'm like, with the New God stuff, like, holy
Yeah.
crap, this is going to get good.
yeah.
So yeah. All right, good choice. Let's see. For me, okay, so this was hard, and I just may choose a tie here, and I choose them for different reasons. So again, Earth 2. We'll talk about that again, because that consistently, ever since it's come out, has been one of my, you look forward to reading certain comics. Not that the others are bad, but you look forward to certain titles for whatever reason. And Earth 2 is always one of those ones that I look forward to.
It's just a fun read.
Yeah. Aquaman has been like that for me as well. Wonder Woman. I have Wonder Woman on my honorable mention here. But I think I'm going to go with Batman and Robin by Pete Tomasi and Patrick Gleason.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, so that book, I don't know, there's something about that book that just every issue I just enjoy. And I'm enjoying the larger story that Tomasi is telling. And I love the father-son stuff in it. And there's for best moment, there's something that happened in that title last year that I'm going to talk about later for best moment. It's just been a delightful read, and I don't think enough people, it's a Batman comic, so enough people are getting it, but everybody's talking about Batman. I don't really hear anybody talk about this title.
Right.
but I mean, obviously, it's a Batman title, so it's selling well, I assume.
Sure.
But it doesn't seem to be getting the love, and I think in some ways it's better than the other Batman titles that I've been reading.
Well, it definitely has its own, it has its own moments. I really love the book too. There are in almost every single issue, there are these great father and son moments kind of things. And it has to be so hard to write that when you look at those two characters. I mean, we look at Bruce Wayne / Batman and Damian Wayne / Robin and how they act and how they behave, and to try and have the two of them have a actual connecting moment, to be able to write that and show it, to me seems like that would be extremely hard to do, because I think they're both difficult characters when it comes to them having relationships with anybody, let alone probably the two people they care about the most is each other, kind of thing. And so there are definitely, almost like I said, every issue has these great moments in it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and just the storytelling of the artist, Patrick Gleason, because you and I had talked about, I think it was the first issue that came out, that imagery of the pearls and the rain,
yes,
and
awesome.
just
man.
and you just get more of that throughout the last year's run. So,
well, I think by far, Batman and Robin, Death of the Family crossover silliness, is it issue 16 or 15? Whichever issue it is, that I can't remember if it's 15 or 16, where Joker gets a hold of Robin.
Wait! I don't know that I've read that.
Oh God, that is the scariest. That is the scariest version of the Joker to date. I mean, it makes Capullo's Joker look like a joke. Oh man.
Oh wait, maybe.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
That's Tomasi's version of the Joker is quite frightening. Because he plays with his face and stuff. It's just, yeah.
I must have read it, but I don't remember that. Maybe I haven't read it. Anyway, I'm looking forward to it if I haven't.
Man.
And if I have read it, obviously I've forgotten.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my choice. Let's see. Lee chose. Could you guess?
For DC?
DC, yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Animal Man.
Oh, cool.
And I don't have much to say about that because I have not been digging that title.
I like it. My only issue is that I came down from the hype of Rotworld a while ago, and Rotworld's still going on. Not that I'm mad about that, but I'm having problems staying engaged and not thinking, wow, what's going to come after this? And that's what I'm looking forward to now.
Oh, really?
So
see, now I've kind of had the opposite reaction in that because I am getting the Animal Man issues that are the Rotworld tie-ins, and I've been enjoying those, but it's tying into a larger story involving Swamp Thing and whatnot. So, but as a standalone comic, not tied in with something else, I just lost interest in it after the first 6 issues. So.
Honestly, I didn't. I'm looking forward to going back to, hopefully he has a family left over when it's all said and done, going back to that whole family dynamic and that sort of stuff. For me personally, the comic was more fun when there was still all the family dynamics and stuff. I love his wife and some of those secondary characters that are in the book and whatnot. To me, make the comic very enjoyable to read.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I didn't care much for the main character.
Yeah, but there's all those other characters. That makes it fun.
Yeah. Well, I got other comics I could read where everything's fun.
Okay. I agree with you. It's a good book.
Yeah. All right. Marvel.
Hawkeye is the best comic book. For those of you not in the know, Hawkeye.
Oh my God.
You ever read that book?
Yes, I love that book.
Oh, just because if you're not reading that book, you're seriously missing out. I mean, that is just a flat. I don't care, Marvel book, DC book, whatever. I just think that's an outstanding book. That book is such a joy to read. That's some of those books that when it comes in, I am chomping at the bit to read it just because it has been so much fun.
Well, I'll just say right now that was my choice as well.
Yeah.
So what a surprise
Yeah, no kidding, huh?
that was, because when I saw that announced that they're going to do another Hawkeye series, I thought, oh well, I guess they're just trying to tie in to the Avengers hype somehow months after the movie
Right, it's
came
over
out,
with.
right? I'm
Yeah.
like, what the heck? And it was by Matt Fraction, and you know how I am with Fraction. He's like, yeah, he's okay.
Oh, see,
I don't see why
yeah,
people get all of Twitter about him.
yeah. I
Um,
get hot and cold. If he gets to write something that's quirky, he is outstanding. If he has to write something that's straightforward, general superhero, yeah, hot and cold on that. But
hmm hmm
and this falls under quirky.
hmm
He's got enough room to be.
Well, isn't that's the best thing about it is that the people at Marvel allowed him to take this character that is now elevated to a certain level because he's part of the Avengers movie universe.
Uh-huh.
And you and I both know that the whole idea of movie translating to comic book sales doesn't actually work.
No, isn't.
But there is a certain attitude or acceptance of that theory by some. I think it's the some that are in suits, at the publisher level
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
that somehow think that. I don't know. I'm just throwing things out here now, but that they allow Fraction and David Aja as the artist,
Mhm.
who's doing
Oh yeah.
a real well. He's to me David Aja. What I see on the page reminds me of David Mazzucchelli
Mm-hmm.
back when he was doing the Daredevil stuff.
Right.
It's very similar to that, but what I really enjoy about it is the color palette of it, the simplicity of it,
Mm-hmm.
of the lines, and just the way that it's told. And there are some different kind of panel stuff that's going on there that's kind of neat. But the fact that Marvel allows them to play with this now sort of marquee character
Right.
in the way that they are, I just really appreciate that they did that they allowed that. So
Well, yeah. Well, the great thing about it, in my opinion, is part of the large beauty of the whole thing is the fact is despite the fact it's called Hawkeye, he's not Hawkeye.
right, yeah, because
It's him when he's
yeah,
not Hawkeye, and
that's
it's just
that's what they say at
it's,
the very beginning of almost every
yeah.
issue. Well, I guess one of the issues I just read it was at the end, but it doesn't matter. It's like what Hawkeye does when he's not Hawkeye, essentially,
Right. Right.
which is true, but it's so good.
It is. It's just
For example, there's one thing that I usually I would go, oh come on, really? But it's the bits where like Hawkeye's always getting
the
knocked
hell being out
out.
of it. Right.
Yeah, and so he'll be getting the snot kicked out of him, and he hears people talking, but they're talking in French or Russian or whatever, some other language that he
Right.
does not know, and
Right.
so the caption reads not translated into English from the French, like we always see in comics with a little asterisk, thing. It's something in French. That's literally what it says.
Right. Right. Yeah. Instead of it, that's to me that's Fraction through and through because he's written some other stuff in some other books that's that way too. Whereas instead of it being writing in French or whatever, it just says that sort of thing. And
Yeah.
he's done that in some other titles too. And I just love it. I mean, because that's just that's that book has just got a lot of charm and a lot of fun to it.
It does.
And despite some of the silly stuff that goes on, because I mean, there's a certain amount of joking that goes on through it because of just how, because he's always things like, this is like this, it starts out with and something horrible is happening to him, and he's like, oh, this is the 7th worst thing that's happened to me today, and then you get to see, the 10 other worst things that happened to him, and despite all the kind of funniness of it, then there's also this other current that runs through it with his relationship with like Kate, for instance,
hmm
Kate Bishop, that is really very serious.
Yeah.
I mean, it's and somehow that it fits in there very well, and it's just great. It's just a great book.
Yeah. I can't wait to see what they do in the next 6 issues of the
Yeah,
comic.
you're crazy if you're not getting the book.
Yeah. And I know.
It's a $2.99 book. It doesn't double ship. It doesn't suffer from all the Marvel things that a lot of Marvel books suffer from.
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's so the Marvel Now that I thought Marvel Now should be,
Yeah.
and most what we're not getting in the other titles. But anyway, I'm not going to get into that right now. But I imagine that Hawkeye Um,
Bro.
I love that. Yeah, bro. Uh, if you're not getting the jokes, you just need to go read it. Seriously, go read this title.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But I imagine that Hawkeye is on many best of 2012 lists, maybe even for best title altogether. Let's see. What did Lee? Oh, here's Lee's answer to best title from Marvel. LOL.
Yes, because he doesn't read anything Marvel.
I thought that was great. That's a good response.
Yep.
All right. How about Image?
Saga.
Saga. Yeah. You and I agree.
There's a lot of good Image books out right now. A lot of books I really, really enjoy reading. But Saga is just, it's outstanding. It's one of those books that just has so many great moments that it's that amazing that it works. And I think it's a combination between, great writing and the way Fiona Staples can, put the characters on the page, their reactions to what's going on, even when there aren't words and stuff. That book does an outstanding job of, it seems like every issue, you open up that first page and it almost always has a what the hell moment that already gets you going, kind of throws your brain on its ears to go, what's going to happen now? And then you get to read this great book, and there's, these great, I don't know, almost seemingly real life moments and whatnot, even from the first issue, where she's giving birth to the baby, just the comments that she has immediately when the comic first starts out and whatnot, just feels very genuine, despite the fact it's set in space and there's magic and blasters and people with TV heads having sex and all kinds of bizarre stuff. It seems very genuine.
Yeah, I'll echo what you're saying, especially about Fiona Staples. I'll tell you what, Brian K. Vaughan is one of my favorite writers in comics, period, because everything that I've read of his, everything, Why the Last Man, I can't think of the
Ex Machina.
Ex Machina, thank you. He also did Runaways at first. Everything that guy touches is gold to me. He tells fantastic stories, but that's not to say that he's not doing so here in Saga, but for me, it's Fiona Staples' art that just grabs my heart and pulls me in every time. I sound like I'm getting emotional, but it's just my cold. What she does with simple lines, that's that, because that's all this art is, just a composition of lines, right? But it's amazing the emotion that she gets into those lines. I don't know how to explain it. It's a form of magic, and I just accept it.
Yep, without doubt.
And I'm so excited that I have an opportunity to tell her that in person when she is at the Emerald City Comic Con.
Oh yeah.
In a couple months.
Yep. Very excited for that.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Oh, I just want to mention I have a couple things here from Image. Revival.
Yes, excellent story.
Yeah, that's that. I wasn't sure about that one, because it's the whole zombie-esque thing.
Right, but it's so not that. Though.
Yeah, it isn't. It's much better than that very simple concept line. And then of course Danger Club, which only put out 4 issues, but I'm so in love with that title. It's such a good read. It's so much fun. It's superheroes and sidekicks and end of the world stuff. It's just I love it. But I had to go with Saga just overall. So let's see. Lee had. I am not surprised by this, and he's absolutely right. The Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a comic I read in trade, so I am actually 1 or 2 trades behind in that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he has something else about The Walking Dead coming up here in a bit, and he spoiled something for me. So.
Oh no! It's the 100th issue. 100th issue.
Yeah. What happened in the 100th issue? So.
Yeah.
Fooey on Lee for that. That's okay.
You trades. That's what you get for being a trade setter.
I know. Well, and that's I'm poking fun because I actually did know about it, but I tried my best to forget about it when I first heard of it.
I can't wait to hear about it because I haven't heard about it yet. So.
Okay. Well, but I did. I managed to forget about it, and then he brought it all back. So now I have to try
Uh,
and forget about it before I read the next set of trades. So anyway, what about Dark Horse? Do you have anything for Dark Horse, Travis?
um, Dark Horse, I'm going to go with BPRD, Hell on Earth,
Ooh.
all the Hell on Earth stuff that's been going on. That just basically just finished up at the end of the year as they're moving into the next phase of what's going on in that, Mike Mignola's universe of the Hellboy universe and whatnot. It's where I first started reading the title at, but I've just really enjoyed it. It's really interesting how they've taken the world over a cliff that I haven't seen anybody else ever really do. Most books either, if it's running up to, if something's happening and it's running up to an apocalypse, the heroes end up saving it and it never actually goes over the precipice, or the book it's already the apocalypse and this is what we have to deal with, kind of a thing. And in this story, they've actually, it looks like the bad guys are going to win. It really genuinely looks like things have gone really, really bad. And it's been really, I've just really enjoyed it. I like the idea of the reality anyway, but it's been really interesting reading this thing where things are actually coming apart. The heroes aren't saving the day. It's now more of, how do they deal with the fact that they aren't saving it? It's coming apart, man. And I've been really enjoying it.
Yeah, that's the BPRD stuff. That I actually have not read any of that, but what I hear of it, and not just from you, is that the BPRD stuff actually, in some ways, eclipses the original Hellboy material. Yeah. So you have this spin-off series out of Hellboy that actually, in some ways, is better than Hellboy was, is what I've heard anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's different. Because you're taking that reality, but it's a much bigger thing. It's a much bigger thing, so it feels grand. It feels huge. Whereas Hellboy is Hellboy. He's the character. I think he's fun. His crap as the big monster stomps on him until he figures out how to beat it, whatnot. And it's fun and it's enjoyable for that. But it's much more of a personal kind of a story as opposed to the BPRD thing, which is just massive, and it really feels epic. Because the freaking world's coming apart. It's the bad things are just ripping it to pieces. So,
it sounds cool. Like I should read it.
It's cool.
But what I did what I chose for Dark Horse, and admittedly, I do not read a whole lot of Dark Horse comics. Mm-hmm. I read Buffy's the main one. I still read that. There was a miniseries called Resident Alien out last year that was pretty good. Mm-hmm. But I don't read the BPRD. I don't read all their media tie-in stuff besides Buffy. So I chose Angel and Faith, which is another tie-in, but it was the equivalent of Angel season 7, I think.
Oh.
But then they brought in the Faith character, and I know you didn't watch a whole lot of Buffy, but you get these two together, and there is some history there in the show with these two, and they bring that up in the series, and it's a very simple story with some kind of a grand background, with Angel trying to bring back from the dead Giles, the Giles character from the series. And there's some twists and turns along the way, and it pretty much about every issue or every other issue, Faith is declaring to herself that if Angel steps out of bounds, she's going to take him down, and almost nearly does a couple times. But it's been a nice, fun series. If you like the Buffy universe, and I do. But that is telling that I didn't choose Buffy, right? Because that's the main thing. But Angel and Faith is actually a better comic to me, and that's by Christos Gage and Rebecca Isaacs, and that's been fun little read. It's cool. It's not great, but it's not bad, but it's not the best. But overall, Lee does not have anything for Dark Horse, so we'll go on to IDW. Do you read anything?
Got nothing.
Got nothing. Okay.
Nope.
I find it funny that IDW is even, a major publisher in previews, but what do I know? But I chose I chose Star Trek. I say about the media stuff, and then I that's my last two choices are media tie-ins. But that new Star Trek ongoing that they've been putting out, again, kind of like Angel and Faith and some of these other things, Hawkeye, for example. What a surprise! How good this actually is. When they first announced this, it was okay. We're going to tell stories set in the Star Trek movie universe, and not only are we going to do that, we're going to retell classic Star Trek stories in the new movie universe. And I thought, okay, that'll be interesting. I'll see where this goes. Yeah,
I'd be suspicious.
Yeah, that was exactly the noise I made when I said that. But I got it, and you know what? I was impressed. They actually, in many ways, improved upon those original stories from Star Trek, which, granted, in some cases, would be easy to do.
Right.
But, I had really low expectations for this comic, and I'm still getting it. And in fact, issue number 13, and this is a title that's done by Mike Johnson and Mike Molnar. Mike Johnson told us a story in issue 13 called The Red Shirt's Tale. Was probably one of the very best Star Trek stories I have ever encountered, whether it's been on TV or the big screen or in comics or even novelizations. This little 22-page comic, was just outstanding. So
cool.
People should check that out if they like Star Trek. Anyway, okay, so now we're going on to other publishers. What do you have there, Travis?
I always think it's worth mentioning Sixth Gun by Oni Press.
That's right.
I still think it's a really great comic. Really enjoy it. It just keeps getting deeper and deeper as far as the complexity of the larger story. This last year, issue 21 came out, and I really, really enjoyed that issue. There's not a single word in the entire issue.
That's a silent one, yeah.
It's the silent issue. I really enjoyed the heck out of that. I like the way it was written, despite the fact that having no words and whatnot. So yeah, that and another couple other off titles, publishers that I found really interesting. I've really been enjoying the Hypernaturals from Boom Studios. That's been a really fun kind of a sci-fi superhero title that I've really been enjoying. The last couple issues have just been really great as we get into the supervillains and the larger plot that's unfolding. That's been really enjoyable. And I've been enjoying the heck out of The Shadow by Dynamite Comics.
Oh, you're getting that?
Yeah.
You're still getting that?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't realize you were reading that.
Yep.
I got the first story arc and then I dropped it.
That Ennis wrote, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've been, and I wasn't sure if I was going to keep going on past that either. There was like a one-shot story that was pretty good, and then the next couple issues that have come out since then have been just as enjoyable. So I'm sticking with it. I like the character, anyway, and it's just been fun. It's just been, it's kind of a pulpy kind of a thing that's been enjoyable.
So did you pick up the Spider?
No.
Okay.
I didn't, because it seemed to me like, just from what I could gather of it, it was basically like a modern version of the Shadow in a way. And I'm not getting masks either, which
that was my next question.
Which is a new thing they have going on that actually sounds pretty cool, but I haven't picked it up either.
Okay.
I hear that coming up in this next year, not that it has anything to do with anything really, but that Mark Waid's going to be writing the Green Hornet.
Green Hornet, yeah, that's in the latest previews to pre-order. I'm not getting that, despite the fact that it's Mark Waid and he's one of my absolute favorite writers. So, the Green Hornet character, I've never been interested in that character. It's always Kato that I've always been interested in.
Everybody's that way, though, aren't they?
I guess, but then give me a Kato comic and maybe I'll read that.
What?
Just Kato.
You want to read a comic about the secondary characters? What are you talking about?
Well, haven't you been listening to me?
You just got done telling me that no, if it doesn't have the main character isn't cool in it, why would you bother reading it?
Oh, okay. Secondary. Well, okay. I'm thinking sidekicks, secondary.
Yeah.
That equation. All right. Okay. So are you? These are your choices for
That's
those?
it.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, those are all good choices. I'm actually, well, I assume because I did not actually pick up Hypernaturals in issue to issue, but I did order the first trade that's going to be coming out here pretty soon.
Cool.
So I'm looking forward to reading that. But as for my choices, I have honorable mention here. I have Archer and Armstrong from Valiant by Fred Van Lente and Clayton Henry. Oh my God, that's probably my favorite Valiant book.
Yeah.
It's so much fun to read. You get the buddy cop type situation between the two characters, where one's really serious and one's not. You get that whole dynamic, and then you throw in the whole immortal aspect with one of the characters, and then you have the guy who originally was trying to kill the immortal.
Right.
So it's just a lot of fun. But what I chose for this category is Abstract Studios, aka Terry Moore's Rachel Rising.
Mm-hmm.
Rachel Rising is this. Well, okay, I tell you what. The story, I admit, is probably not the best story I've read from Terry Moore, but it's not a bad story at all. But it's his art that's the reason I read this comic. Is his beautiful, beautiful, beautiful art, and it's black and white, and so you don't get that whole color dimension to it, and I just still love that comic. It's so good to read, and it is telling an interesting story. It's just his stuff is kind of I'm not quite sure how to put it, but it's kind of odd in some ways in the way that he tells the story. It's not quite traditional, but it still works in a way overall. So he sometimes, like his Strangers in Paradise, he would basically give you this premise for this story, and then he'd meander with through these other characters and these other situations. He would just kind of throw in, and it's kind of like throwing a bomb into a room. It's just like boom, and then some. Things are different, but they're still recognizable. He hasn't quite done that here with Rachel Rising. It's been more tame in comparison, but it's still a great read. And have you seen the covers for this title, Travis?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Those are freaking fantastic.
Yeah. I've heard lots of good stuff about the book.
What he does, I mean, the pencil work itself is awesome, but then what he does with the color palette of those covers, and it's a very simple color palette, but it's so evocative. It's you can't help but look at it and go, wow, look at this. So anyway, that's my choice. For Lee's choice in this other publisher category, he of course chose Valiant, and he chose Harbinger, and said in parentheses he has tough choice, and I know what he means because all of those books are top notch. If you want fun, engaging, just interesting reads, whether it's superheroes or not. I mean, they're all kind of superhero-esque to some degree, but they're just good. DC and Marvel should pay attention to what Valiant or how Valiant is doing these books, because these are good comics overall. So and the fact that they can do so well with them, as a whole. And granted, there's what 5, 6
or 7 titles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like we're not talking 52 level or whatever, however many Marvel is publishing, but still they're doing a bang up job in releasing this reinvented universe and characters and situations, and doing a hell of a job at it. So I can see why Lee would say tough choice there. So all right. Okay, let's move on. Best writer.
Scott Snyder.
All right.
And not just for one thing. I mean, he this last year has been such a wide breadth of. I mean, the whole Batman thing, the two arcs that he's engineered this year. To the Core of the Owls and going into the into the death of the family stuff, and he's kind of plotted the stuff that the rest of the DC Batman universe is working around. And the work that I've read on American Vampire, Severed came out, I believe, this last year, right? That's
I
not
think
2
so,
years
yeah.
old, is it? Yeah, I mean, I just think that he's doing such solid work, and it just feels like that he doesn't mess around. It's like if I'm going to write the story, I'm going to write the biggest thing I can, and after I'm done that, I'm going to then write the next biggest thing until
That's true.
And he seems to not want to slow down. It's like, oh, would you like to take a break in between these two arcs? No, let's just get right to the next one. As long as he's gonna do everything he can while he can, kind of a thing. And I just think it's great, that he's not out there. It doesn't feel like he's trying to, milk things and whatnot. He's really, I enjoy all this stuff. So I think that he's the writer of the year.
Yeah, and in fact, he is on my list. So out of all these categories, Travis, the writer, I just kept adding writers.
Yeah.
One after the other after the other. So it's the largest group of names I have out of this whole list, just because I tended to gravitate towards the writers of these comics, and I have my favorites, of course. Scott Snyder was on there, of course, along with a bunch of other people. But I went with Mark Waid. And that's an easy choice for me, actually, because of how good Daredevil has been. And I just read Indestructible Hulk, the first couple issues of that. Granted, that's not... Well, yeah, I guess the first one did come out in 2012. But, I didn't really count that one so much just because it was just one issue. But, still good, solid writing, good, excellent storytelling. Again, sort of a reinvention of the character that he started with when that came out in late 2010, didn't it, I think?
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Yeah. But still, the continuation of that, it's just he's just a good storyteller, and I if I recall correctly, I gave him like the runner up in that same category last year, so he moved up a notch. Okay, so Lee chose as best writer Jeff Lemire.
Oh, yeah, he's writing a bunch of stuff too. He's kind of all over the place and has his hands in stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and see, this Lemire to me is like Snyder was for me, and who were we talking about before? Where I was like, I don't remember now. But he's okay. Oh, Fraction. We were talking about Fraction.
Yeah, Fraction.
Yeah, Lemire's okay. He has yet to really impress me like Scott Snyder has done on Batman.
I think Jeff Lemire is a solid writer. I don't know that he's rock star, but he's a solid writer.
Yeah.
I don't go, oh, he's writing that. Oh man.
Oh yeah.
I never fear or have concern about him writing whatever it is he chooses to write. I figure I'm gonna get a decent story. I mean, it may not be, woo, Jeff Lemire's writing that, I'm so excited, but I never have and there are some people that, like I said, like with Fraction, for instance, if he's writing certain types of stories, I'm really excited for him. And if he's writing other kind of stories, I'm like, okay, I don't know if I'm going to even, try it, kind of a thing. So I think he's a decent writer.
Yeah, but for me, it's kind of like I just don't see why everyone talks about him in such loving tones, I guess.
Well, have you read his independent stuff?
No, and that's what I hear.
You're missing his best stuff.
Yes, that's what I hear. So I need to do that, so that I'm not judging him or misjudging him. But yeah, okay. Let's see here. I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Counting the winner, I had 9 choices in the writer category. It was tough for me to choose. I went back and forth too on many. Scott Snyder being one of the choices that I was like, he almost edged out Mark Waid, but I went with Mark Waid. All right. How about artist? Penciler or all-in-one artist?
J.H. Williams the third.
Ooh, okay. Didn't you choose him last year?
Yes. And probably as long as he's making comics, unless some other god is born to comic book art, I'll probably keep picking the guy. Because, this next year, that new Sandman title is going to
Yeah,
come out.
yeah.
And I figure that's just going to blow me away on a whole nother level. And so next year we'll be sitting here talking about it, and I'll be going, J.H. Williams the third. Have you seen that Sandman book?
Yeah,
I'll just,
yeah, yeah.
I'll just bet money on it.
So
No,
what?
is that work on Batwoman is it is incredible. I mean, it's just, I mean, I give some credit to Dave Stewart for the
Oh yeah.
colors. He's an absolute outstanding colorist on everything he does. But even just the black and white stuff of J.H. Williams, uh, it's it's incredible. I mean, even if we don't take into his complex um, paneling, even if we don't take that into consideration, just the actual work of the characters themselves and whatnot, how depending on whether the characters are in Batwoman mode or civilian mode, or we're dealing with Agent Chase, or we're dealing with Detective Sawyer, the comic shifts, and it amazes me that it can shift that way, and that even if they're all in the same panel together, each one of those characters has a different presence and almost a different art style to each one. Just
Hmm.
to me, that's just incredible that he can mix all that together, and it works really well.
Hmm.
So
Hearing you talk about him and everything that J.H. Williams does in Batwoman, and you're absolutely correct
mhm.
about everything that you've said. Um, I feel like I've been unfair to him after hearing you describe him because, I've seen his work now for a while.
Uh-huh.
And so I think, well, it's like, yeah, he's great. And he really is. He's great. But I think I was for my choice in this, I was blown away by this person's art because I wasn't familiar with the art.
Mhm.
And so it was kind of like, it was like this big splash page introduction, if you will,
Mhm.
of this artist. So I went with Fiona Staples.
Mhm. Well, I really enjoy Fiona, and what Fiona does, I think is outstanding, and I'm willing to pick up any comic book that she is doing the art on, and genuinely excited for it.
Mhm.
But I personally still feel like J.H. Williams is on a completely different level than any other comic book artist that's out there right now.
Yeah, I won't disagree with that. He definitely has a strong design sense that you probably don't associate with anybody else.
Yeah, right.
Just because and not just how things look on the page and the panel
Mhm.
layout, but then like you were talking about, you have the different art styles for different character focuses, right?
Mhm.
I mean, what artist does that really anymore?
Nobody.
So,
They may change for book. Each book,
oh
they're on
yeah.
this book. This is how they are. They move to a new book. They decide to do a different style, but not within a book.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. Okay. All right, let's go to creative team.
Um, that would be Brian K. Vaughan, Fiona Staples. That I don't.
Yes, that's what I chose as well.
I mean, that book is just incredible.
Yeah, yeah.
60-foot scrotums and all.
Oh God, don't remind me. And I'm still, Travis, I'm still freaked out by those women with the legs and the
Oh,
heads.
I love that. Oh God, that's just
God.
awesome.
Oh my God.
Like I said, those first pages. You open that first page. Open that first page. There's a guy sitting on a toilet with a TV head reading a book. Open that first page. You get these ladies that are all legs and head. Open that first page and it's the stock. Oh, never mind. Yeah.
So like before I was talking about with in regards to Brian K. Vaughan and as a favorite writer,
Uh,
I went with these two as the creative team because it seems like they're extenuations of each other when it comes to creating saga.
right.
It's not like Brian K. Vaughan, is doing the writing and she's doing the art. It's like this nice melding of the two and their
Mhm.
personalities and their goals for this book to create what they do every month. Well,
Right.
almost every month. So unlike like you can look at other comics, and yes, that's Jeff Johns doing the writing, and this is Ivan Hayes doing the art, and yes, that's all good stuff, but it doesn't seem as integrated as what Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples does in Saga. So that's why I went with them. I do want to mention, though, my honorable mention, and this kind of was hard for me because I'm so in love with this book, but again, I'm going to talk about Danger Club. The Danger Club team of Landry Q. Walker, Eric Jones on art, and Michael Drake on colors is just phenomenal. It's not quite the melding, as I said, between the winners of this category here for me, but it's still an awesome creative team on what I think is an underrated book that everybody should be reading. So, all right. So Travis and I have been talking for I think about an hour. I'm not sure what it'll be when I get this edited, but it's about that time. We're gonna split this up and come back on the next episode with the rest of the categories for the best of 2012. So please, if you'd like to make comments about this episode and let us know what your choices are for best of 2012, or if you prefer, you can, well, you could do both if you want, but you could also tell us, we're crazy, or how did we miss this, or why did you choose that? Yeah. So let us know. You can leave email at longboxreview@gmail.com. And there are other ways to get a hold of us. Just go to longboxreview.wordpress.com and click the feedback button, and there's all sorts of different ways you can do that. All right. We will talk very soon, Travis.
Okay.
Thanks for listening.